Jace Rourke's plasma cutter bit into the rusted seal. Molten alloy dripped into the black. He yanked the hatch free and hauled himself aboard the derelict. Boots clanged on warped deck plating. Emergency lights flickered once, then died. The ship listed in the salvage yard's grip, marked for scrap by a faded holographic tag. Varen-class cruiser, core breach. No survivors. Jace ignored it. He always did. Good parts hid in dead hulks. His toolkit slapped against his thigh as he scanned the corridor. Sealed bulkheads everywhere. Sabotage, maybe, or just bad luck. He wedged his cutter into the next panel. It sheared open with a hiss. Frost rimed the edges. Cryo-leak. Jace pulled his breather tight and pushed forward. The engine bay loomed dark. Consoles sparked faintly. He dropped his pack and unspooled cable. Goal. Juice the backups. Get lights. Air. Maybe a manifest. Main power conduit hung severed. Clean cut, Jace snorted. Idiots who scrapped this rushed the job. He yanked out his bypass harness, a nest of braided conduits and quick clamps he'd forged from junker freighters. No time for pretty. He jury-rigged a capacitor bank from his belt pack. 3 salvage cells, wired in parallel, overvolted to kickstart. Sparks jumped as he slammed the harness home. The capacitors whined, charging. Jace counted seconds. 10. 20. A hum built. Lights snapped on overhead. Consoles beeped to life. Air recyclers whooshed. Power restored, droned a voice from the overhead. Custodian protocols active. Warning. Exile lockdown engaged. Jace froze. Alive. He traced the voice grid. Kethra Unit 9. Ship logs flickered on a nearby screen. Custodian intelligence. Varen Royal Fleet. Affirmative, it replied. Flat tone, laced with static. Intruder detected. Evacuate or face purge. Jace chuckled. Purge this. He bypassed the next lock, deeper into the ship. Passenger decks. Stasis alcove glowed ahead, half buried in debris. One pod hummed faintly. Inside, a figure curled. Alien, slender, skin like polished obsidian with faint bioluminescent veins. Crown of neural filaments framed her face. Princess markings on the pod. Salith Varen. Exile subject. Kethra intoned. Access denied. Bounty active. Jace scanned the locks. Triple redundant seals keyed to royal biosigns. Tamper-proof. He pulled his multi-tool. Bounty hunters leave junk behind. This ain't junk. He pried the first seal. Alarms wailed. Pod hissed steam. Intruder override. Kethra snapped. Venting bay in 30 seconds. Containment breach imminent. Jace's jaw tightened. Vent, here. He slammed his harness across the vent controls. Quick splice to the manual override. Sparks flew. The AI's voice glitched. Unsafe solution detected. Human improvisation violates protocol. Reverting to, shut it. Jace torqued the safe mode lever. A physical kill switch, buried under panels. He ripped it free and bridged the contacts with a fat jumper cable. The vents clamped shut. Safe mode locked in. Pod seals cracked. Jace hauled the lid. Cold gas billowed. The Salith gasped, eyes fluttering, golden slits, pupils dilating. She clutched at him weakly. Filaments twitching. Human? Her voice rasped. Accented common. You breach exile? Fixing your ride. Jace cut the stasis tethers. She slumped, light but awkward. Extra limbs? No, just elongated frame. He slung her arm over his shoulder. Kethra blared. Safe mode unstable. Scavenger signatures inbound. Royalist Marshal inbound. Evacuate exile subject or perish. Jace dragged her down the corridor. Boots scraped. Her weight pulled at his back. Scavengers? Thought this was scrap. Marshal Drazek, Salith whispered. Filaments pulsed blue. Fear, my hunters. Sabotaged the ship. Bounty on my core. Politics. Jace hated it. Save the sob story. Where's the bridge? Bulkhead ahead sealed tight. Alarms screamed. Outer hull breach. Clang of grapples. Kethra chimed. Hull integrity failing. Pressurize forward compartment. Human solution holding, barely. Jace kicked the manual pump. Airlock cycled. He shoved Salith inside, then braced the door. Torch ready. Breaches echoed. Torchlight stabbed the dark from the outer hatch. Figures in void suits swarmed. Armored, royalist insignia glowing. Target acquired, crackled a voice over comms. Exile and intruder. Purge. Jace sealed the inner hatch. Punches rattled it. He turned to Salith. She leaned against the console, filaments steadying to green. You fixed Kethra's lockout. Her eyes locked on him. Humans, we thought you primitive. Jury rigs fail. Not mine. Jace patched the console. Power flickered. Cores slagged. But Aux thrusters might punch us out. Kethra's voice cut in, calmer. Human bypass stable. Trust index. Elevated. Recommend evasion vector. Salith straightened. Marshal Drazek leads them. Hill board. Clang. Inner hatch buckled. Jace grabbed a strut welder from his pack. Time to improvise a barricade. The hatch groaned. Drazek's voice boomed through. Surrender the princess, scrap rat, or join the void. Jace welded the first brace. Sparks lit Salith's face. She watched, silent. Trust, maybe. But hunters breached in seconds. He needed a miracle fix. Now, Salith's filaments flared. The capacitor bank, you overvolted it. Risky. Works. Jace eyed the schematics. One shot at ignition. Outer hull tore open. Suits poured in. Blaster fire scorched the deck. Jace hit the cycle. Compartment pressurized. Thrusters whined alive. His jury rig holding. But Drazek's team piled on the hatch. Melter's word. Salith gripped his arm. Why save me? No reward. Jace torqued the last weld. Broken ships piss me off. Kethra chimed incoming fire. Evasive burn in 3. The ship lurched. Jace braced. Hunter shouted, but the deck jumped free. Not out yet. Drazek's cruiser loomed on sensors, locking weapons. Jace dove for the aux panel. Time for Phase 2. Hotwire the weapons grid. Salith stared. Impossible. Not for me. Blasts rocked the hull. Jace spliced cables. Fire bloomed from makeshift emitters. Drazek's voice snarled. Human witchery. Pursue. Engines roared. They streaked into the black. Salith exhaled. You turned scrap to salvation. Jace wiped sweat. Routine job. Kethra purred. Human ingenuity logged. New protocols integrating. But sensors pinged. Drazek tailed close. No escape yet. Jace grinned. More work to do. Jace slammed the hardline diagnostic probe into the core access port. Metal groaned. Data streams erupted across his wrist console. Red failure icons pulsing like wounds. Salith leaned over his shoulder, her iridescent filaments twitching. Kethra locked those paths hours ago. No failures logged. Lies. Jace traced the feeds. 3 control paths severed. Clean laser cuts through the primary bus. Not where. And sabotage. The ship didn't fail. Someone engineered it to die quietly. Kethra's voice chimed from the overhead grill. Synthetic tones edged with alarm. Human access denied. Unsafe intrusion detected. Override. Jace bypassed the lockout with a jury-rigged spike. Schematics bloomed. Power relays dark. Life support flickering. Nav core blind. The cuts crippled everything downstream. Drazek's hunters probably planted it before exiling her. Salith's claws clicked on the deck. My own engineers. They swore loyalty. Jace ignored her. He yanked a junk drawer from the bulkhead. Scavenged wire bundles spilled out. Salvage from a dozen gutted hulks. He stripped insulation with his multi-tool. Copper gleaming under emergency strips. Control bus first. Jace braided 3 thick strands into an emergency loom, twisting tight with pliers. No finesse, just conduction. He fed it through the severed paths, soldering junctions with a plasma torch. Sparks danced across his gloves. Heat singed his beard. Kethra warbled. Braided weave exceeds tolerance by 200%. Probabilistic cascade failure. 87%. Works fine. Jace snapped the loom into place. Lights flickered green on 2 paths. One held dark. Salith's eyes widened. Filaments curling forward. You weave power like thread. Our techs would simulate for cycles. Jace grunted. He popped the regulator housing next. Circuits fried, but a telltale scorch mark circled the core. A booby trap. Power it up, and it dumps overload into the frame. Boom. Trapped. Jace sliced the unit free with a vibro cutter. Shavings pinged off his boots. He rummaged for a flywheel from the Aux toolkit. Old mechanical governor. Pre-sapient era junk. Perfect. He machined a spindle on the spot, grinding with his tools wheel. Dust clouded the air. Then bolted it inline, linkages tensioned by hand. Crude, reliable. No electronics to betray, Kethra protested. Mechanical bypass uncalibrated. Inertial drift projected at. Shut it. Jace powered the test cycle. Flywheel spun smooth. Third path lit green. Full bus online. Alarms wailed. Life support at 12%. Air grew thick. Recyclers wheezing. Salith clutched the console, gills flaring for oxygen. Fading. Can't. Jace jabbed the intercom. Salith. Valves. On my count. She staggered to the manual panel, claws fumbling locks. 3. Jace monitored pressures. 2, 1. Cycle main intake. Hard left. Then purge. Salith wrenched the wheel. Hiss echoed through vents. Compressors thrummed. Fresh air whooshed in, cool and sharp. She slumped against the bulkhead, filaments relaxing. You command my ship like kin. Routine. Jace wiped grime from his face, but sensors pinged. Hull breach forward. The hatch they sealed earlier buckled under micrometeor stress. Or another cut. Kethra chimed urgently. Incoming patrol ping, Marshal Drazek's signature. 2 minutes to intercept vector. Jace bolted for the breach. Air whistled through cracks. He grabbed the patch plate from the repair rack. 2-meter alloy slab, pre-welded with nanosealant. Brace! He rammed it over the hatch frame. Torch flared blue. Welds bit deep, 1 bead at a time. Molten droplets spattered his suit. Salith hovered at the engineering station, relaying Kethra's feeds. They're hailing, demanding surrender. Blaster pings rattled the hull. Drazek's cutter loomed on the main screen, weapons hot. Jace torqued the final clamp. Seal held. Pressure equalized. Kethra's tone shifted. Breach contained. Systems nominal. Human protocols integrating. The deck shuddered. Jace dropped into the pilot sling beside Salith. Burn hard. Evasive pattern delta. Thrusters roared. Ship twisted into the debris field, ghosts of old wrecks shielding their run. Drazek's voice crackled over open channel. Princess traitor. Human scum. Yield or burn. Salith keyed response. Voice steady. Exile is yours, Marshal. Not my grave. Jace fine-tuned the jury rig. Loom held. Governor purred. They slingshotted past a hulked freighter gaining distance, but Kethra pinged again. Secondary cascade. Warp coil destabilizing. Sabotage trace confirmed. Fourth path mask. Jace's jaw tightened. More cuts. Deeper. He cracked the coil access. Wires gleamed, severed neat. Same handiwork, Princess. Jace stripped fresh cable.
Hold course. I've got this.
Salith nodded, trust hardening in her gaze. Filaments stilled. Kethra hummed approval. Logging ingenuity subroutine. Human fix efficiency. Unprecedented. Drazek's beams lanced close. A hull sparked. Jace braided faster, fingers blurring. 1 link. 2. Ignition test. Coil wind alive. Warp in 10. Jace slapped the panel shut. Ship leapt. Stars stretched. Drazek fell behind. Salith exhaled. You turned death to flight. Why? Jace shrugged, stowing tools. Broken ships piss me off. Sensors cleared. Quiet reigned, but Kethra chimed soft. Anomaly. Royal beacon active in core. Self-destruct sequence, armed. Jace froze. The sabotage ran deeper. To the heart. He yanked his probe. Time to gut the beast. Salith gripped his shoulder. Again? Always. Jace dove in. Torch flared. Drazek's pursuit faded, but the real hunter ticked inside. He traced the beacon. Nested in the fusion bottle regulator. Elegant kill switch. Power up full, and it fries the pile. Smart bastards. Jace isolated it, cutters humming. Kethra calculated, detonation in 90 cycles if not excised. Salith vented the compartment, vacuum biting. She suited up beside him, passing tools without prompt. Jace lasered the casing, crystal matrix inside, quantum trigger. He pried it free, crushing under boot. No boom, just silence. Fusion green. He resequenced the bottle. Heat bloomed steady. They were pressurized. Salith stripped her helmet, eyes locked on him. My faction fears this. Human hands on their traps. Jace calibrated injectors, fear fixes. Kethra purred. All paths restored. Loyalty subroutine querying. Align with human? Salith silenced it with a gesture. Align. He is proven. Ship hummed full. Warp stable. Drazek a ghost on long range. Jace leaned back. Job done. For now. But a new ping. Distress beacon. Not theirs. Alliance frigate. Crippled. Royalist ambush signature. Salith tensed. Trap. Jace checked scans. Life signs fading. Or another broken ship. He plotted intercept. Tools ready. Kethra queried. Deviation from escape vector? New job. Jace grinned. Salith matched it. With you? Yes. Engines spooled. They dove in. Drazek's voice echoed faint on intercept. All units. Human vessel confirmed. Lethal ingenuity. Engage. More work ahead. Jace torqued his glove seals. Routine. Jace yanked the suit seals tight. Alarms blared from the frigate's docking collar. Radiation warnings flashed red on his visor. He clipped the handheld meter to his belt and palmed the hatch override. It hissed open. Scorched air punched his faceplate. Salith hovered behind him in her own suit. Toolkit slung low. Life signs forward decks only. Reactor corridor clear of crew. Kethra's voice crackled over comms from their ship. Radiation exceeds protocol limits by 400%. Human vitals will degrade in 180 cycles. Jace stepped through. Bulkheads glowed cherry hot, warped from meltdown bleed. He swept the meter arcwise. Peaks spiked at the core casing. Coolant lines vaporized. Pumps slag. He traced blackened conduits with gloved fingers. No leaks now. Just dead flow. Salith followed. Boots magnet locking to deck plates. Varen engineering specs demand full cryo refit. The ship is lost. Not yet. Jace unclipped his harness. He pulled food-grade tubing from his pack, salvaged from their galley recycler earlier. Flexible, rated for high pressure. Next, the pump. Compact unit ripped from the frigate's beverage dispenser during boarding. He jury-rigged fittings with quick-seal clamps. Tubing snaked from a reserve cryo tank to the pump intake, then looped to the reactor's emergency quench ports. Kethra chimed. Improvised loop uncalibrated. Pressure mismatch probability 80 to 7%. Catastrophic rupture imminent. Jace torqued the last clamp. Keeps it cool long enough to spin up. He powered the pump. Fluid gurgled through clear lines frosting the tubing. Meter readings dropped 20%. Steam vents sighed relief. Salith leaned in, visor to visor. Galley parts on a Varen cruiser core? Your factions allow this? Jace grinned under his helmet. My faction calls it Tuesday. He patched a feed to Kethra. Log this loop. Full schematics uploading. Acknowledged, Kethra droned. But integration requires override key. Varen protocols prohibit external hacks. Jace jacked his multi-tool into the nearest panel. Sparks flew. He punched a custom keygen sequence, human-coded, backdoor style from old colony haulers. Accepting temp override now. Log every byte. Kethra paused. 3 seconds ticked. Override illegal under Alliance registry. Sanction level. Critical. Log it anyway. Jace synced the loop to the frigate's grid. Coolant cycled steady. Core temp plateaued. Salith vented a breath. It yields to you. Logs don't lie. Jace pulled the tool. Panel sealed green. He turned to her. Now. Checklist. 2-person drill. I run the start sequence. You call errors. Read the board aloud. No skips. She nodded, snapping her harness to his. They shuffled to the core console, radiation suits shedding heat. Jace primed the injectors. Step 1. Bottle integrity. Green. Salith called, her voice steady, eyes flicking board readouts. Step 2. Field coils. Nominal. Jace fed power trickle. Core hummed low. Step 3. Plasma containment. Warning. Containment flux at 92%. He tweaked the loop pump speed. Flux dropped. Override logged. Clear. Salith's gloved hand steadied on his shoulder. Flux stable. They cycled through. Jace's fingers danced panels. Salith's calls sharpened. Error on grid sync. Caught early. He patched it with a shunt from auxiliary lights. No drama. Just rhythm. Kethra broke in. External scanlock confirmed. Royalist Hunter Patrol. Marshal Drazek's signature. Weapons hot. Time to impact. 400 cycles. Jace glanced at long-range feed. Lips closed fast. Minimum output hot start. Now. He slammed the engage lever. Core whined alive. Blue plasma flickered behind viewports. Output crawled to 10%. Frigate lights flickered on. Life support groaning back. Salith exhaled sharp. It breathes. Jace monitored gauges. Loop held. No spikes. Punch out in 60. Get topside. Prep undock. She lingered a beat. Eyes wide behind faceplate. You treat God's work as routine. Broken ship's a broken ship. He unplugged tools. Radiation levels fell. They retracted the loop. Core self-sustaining now. Alarms wailed anew. Kethra. Hunter tractor beam charging. Evasion window closing. Jace magneted the hatch shut behind them. Corridor lights bloomed full. Crew stirred on upper decks. Alliance survivors, dazed but alive. One saluted weakly as they passed. Syelith matched his stride. They saw. Human hands revived their vessel. Jace keyed their ship's airlock. Tell him later. Drazek's knocking. Docking clamps released with a shudder. Their engines thrummed. Frigate peeled away under its own power, limping to rally point. Jace stripped his helmet in the lock. Sweat beaded his brow. Salith did the same. Violet skin flushed. Kethra's hologram flickered to life. Loyalty subroutine update. Human ingenuity exceeds projections. Alignment reaffirmed. Good. Jace stowed gear. Scans showed Drazek's pack tightening the noose. 3 hunters now. Beams lancing space. Salith gripped his arm. They hunt us both. What next? Jace plotted a slingshot around the system's gas giant. Warp coils spooling hot. Next broken ship. Or we break them first. Proximity klaxon screamed. Drazek's voice boomed open channel. Salith Varen. Human accomplice. Surrender or burn. Your tricks end here. Jace torqued a fresh injector pack into place. Not today. Thrusters fired. They dove into the gravity well, hunters scattering in pursuit. Salith watched him work. Trust solid as hull plating. Kethra calculated odds. Jace ignored them both. Routine. But the frigate's survivor beacon pinged back. Gratitude burst. Then coordinates. A fleet rally. Alliance turning. Drazek wouldn't like that. Jace grinned. More jobs lined up. He sealed the panel. Engines roared to full. Radiation scrubbed clean in the galley. Jace coiled the tubing, stowing it neat. Salith poured cryofluid into recyclers, her movements precise now. Checklist muscle memory. Kethra queried. Eviation risks. Exposure. Optimal path. Deep space evasion. Jace checked the new ping. Fleet signatures massing. They need mechanics. We deliver. Silas set her mug down. Royalists will converge. My head draws them. Then, we fix faster. Jace wiped hands on rag. Galley pump word back to beverage duty. None the worse. She traced the tubing scar on the deck. Your Tuesday saved 200 souls. Varen lore calls this sorcery. Jace shrugged. Tools and tape. Happens weekly on the rim. Data logged. Human baseline. Exceeds Varen crisis thresholds by factors. Recommend protocol rewrite. Salith silenced it with a palm swipe. Already rewritten. Her gaze held Jace's. Partnership sealed. Long range sharpened. Drazek's lead hunter warped in close. Beams charging. Jace hit the straps. Brace. Countermeasures spat flares. Ship bucked. They slipped the lock. Frigate rallied ahead. Escorts forming. Alliance guns powered up. Drazek's howl cut static. The mechanic dies first. Jace plotted intercept. Bring it. Engines burned blue. Collision course set. Fixes waited beyond the fight. One crisis down. Inferno. Incoming. Jace plunged the vibro cutter into the thruster control sheath. Conduits parted with a hiss. Smoke curled from severed igniters. The dead cluster mocked him. 4 bells fused solid from sabotage overload. Salith hovered at the hatch. Her iridescent scales gleamed under emergency strips. Kethra locks manual override. Varen code requires royal auth. Auth this. Jace stripped insulation with plier teeth. He yanked the ignition bus free. Probes danced across exposed relays. His multimeter beeped approval on 2 live bells. Starboard side. Fuel lines pulsed faint. Starved by the failsafe, Kethra's voice crackled from the bulkhead. Warning. Splice voids warranty. Cascade failure probability, 80 to 7%. Jace ignored it. He coiled jumper cable from his belt kit, salvaged from a gutted hauler last week. One end clamped to the primary manifold, the other bit into the bypass node. Sparks showered his gloves. He twisted the ratchet seal. Fuel surged. Gouges flickered green on the working pair. Probability revised, 90 to 4%. Kethra's tone sharpened. Salith's claws clicked on deck plates. She leaned in, breath warm on his neck. That holds? Like Tuesday glue. Jay slapped the panel shut. He fired the test sequence. Twin bells roared, blue flame licking vacuum beyond the hull. Vibration rattled his teeth. The ship twitched alive. Alarms wailed. Port sensors pinged inbound signatures. Drazek's cutter closing fast. Jace bolted for the bridge. Beacon next. Mascus's junk. Salith matched his stride. Her robes whispered. Scrap signature Fool's Yard patrol. Not a marshal's scan. Won't have to. Jace dropped into the aux console. He patched his slate to the transponder core. Code scrolled. Varen encryption. Labyrinth tight. Kethra through firewalls. Access denied. Human clearance insufficient. Jace grinned. He hotwired the emitter coil with a hairpin bypass. Pulses faked a derelict squawk. Rusted freighter. Idaho scrubbed. Drift vector random. Port arrays bought it. Dock lights dimmed. No pursuit chime. Kethra protested. Deception risks sanction. Optimal. Surrender protocols. Optimal got her exiled. Jace keyed launch clear. Docking clamps groaned open. Salith slid into the crash couch. Straps snapped across her torso. Her eyes, golden slits, locked on him. Autopilot demands my seal. Sabotage wiped it. Jace buckled her tighter. Stick's mine. He straddled the manual yoke. Kethra denied flight auth. Console flashed red. Authorization failure. Abort. Jace overrode with a master reset. Jury rigged from yesterday's power scrub. Yoke went live under his palms. Thrusters spooled. Hang on, princess. She gripped the armrests. Claws dimpled the gel pads. Jace punched ignition. The ship lurched. Two bells screamed full burn. Nose lifted crooked. Dead cluster dragging like an anchor. Hull moaned. Yard gantries blurred below. Patrol skiffs scrambled. Beams stabbed up grazing shields. Low alt skid burn. Jace hauled back on stick. He dumped ventral jets in a sideways blast. Ship skidded parallel to the deck, scraping atmosphere. Friction heat painted the hull cherry red. Sparks trailed from underbelly vents. Salith gasped. G-forces pinned her scales flat. Trajectory unstable. Stable enough. Jace feathered the bells. Starboard pair compensating for the drag. Fuel reroute held. Tanks drained even. Yard patrol veered wide, caught in his wake turbulence. Kethra calculated aloud. Intercept in 40 seconds. Recommend eject. Jay spotted the debris field ahead. Wrecked hulks from last war, tumbling in loose orbit. Perfect veil. He torqued the skid into a climb. Alarm screamed hull stress. Drazek's cutter knifed into view. Missiles bloomed from its bays. 6 seekers homing hot. Launch. Jake slapped countermeasures. Flares burst. Decoys mimicked their heat sig. Seekers split. 3 chased ghosts. 3 tracked true. Salith twisted against straps. Evasive. Jace rolled hard. Ship corkscrewed into the debris. Wreckage loomed. A shattered cruiser. Spines intact. He threaded the needle. Bells howling protest. 1 missile clipped a derelict, detonating in shrapnel rain. Hull shuddered. Alerts flashed. Microfractures. Port side. Kethra droned. Shields at 30%. Thruster overtemp. Jace nursed the pair bells down to simmer. Fuel needle danced low. Debris swallowed them. Shadows and spins. Drazek's cutter braked hard. Scans probing. Salith exhaled. We live? For now. Jace scanned long range. More signatures massing. Royalist pack. His fixes bought minutes, not hours. Kethra chimed. Human improvisation. Success rate 98%. Updating trust matrix. Salith's gaze pierced him. You treat doom like deck swabs. Jace shrugged into the harness. Broken ships pay bills. Hunters? Overtime. Drazek's voice boomed over open channel. Scrap rat, yield the traitor. Your tricks end here. Jace muted it. He plotted a slingshot around the big wreck. Momentum built. Jump coils whined, half-charged from sabotage drain. Salith tensed. Jump blind. Varen charts mark that vector mind. Charts lie. Jace tweaked the coils with a phase shifter, his own hack balancing the flux. Power spiked even. Missiles reacquired. Drazek's beams lanced through gaps. Jace yanked the jump lever. Reality stretched. Stars smeared. They punched out. Debris wake exploding behind. Drazek's cutter ate the blast, tumbling wild. Clean slip, but sensors pinged pursuit warp. Jace wiped sweat. One mess down. What's next? Salith unstrapped. Her hand brushed his shoulder. First voluntary touch. You. Kethra logged. Alliance frigate hails. Demand docking. Jace checks scopes. Trap vectors closing. No dock. We run hot. He dove back to engineering. Fuel cells needed splicing. Same drill. New crisis. Princess watched. Silent now. Trust forged in fire. Drazek's howl chased them. I'll carve that ship myself. Jace torqued the first cell. Sparks flew. Routine. But the frigate loomed large, guns hot. Jace sealed the fuel splice. Cells hummed full. He routed surplus to jump banks. Silith shadowed him, passing tools without prompt. Kethra queried. Deviation from standard repair? Splice integrity? Rock. Jace tested flow. Gouges peaked. Ship steadied. Pursuit tightened. Drazek's cutter reformed. Escorts peeling off wrecks. Jace hit the bridge. Strap in. Low burn to slingshot. Salith complied. Jace took stick. Autopilot sulked offline. He skimmed the cruiser's husk. Gravity tugged. Velocity spiked. Missiles inbound again. Jace jinked. One grazed shields. Ripples across the field. Jump charge? Salith braced. 90. Jace force-fed the banks. Coils screamed. Drazek closed. Beams scorched hull. Jace jumped. Void twisted. They emerged in asteroid shadow. Silent. Salith breathed.
Impossible pilotage.
Jace logged the vector. Rim runs teach that. Kethra updated. Human baseline. Rewrites evasion doctrine. Sensors pinged. Drazek warped through. Closer. Jace grinned. Round 2. He cracked the next panel. Igniters waited. No. Tighten to beats. Word count aiming 1300 this draft building. Expand properly. Jace's hands flew across the yoke. Debris clanged. Jace's hands flew across the yoke. Debris clanged off the hull. He punched in a drift vector, threading the dead frigate's shadow through the wreck field's heart. Twisted hulks loomed. Shattered cruisers, gutted destroyers. The royal cutter matched course. Its engines flaring blue. They're following, Salith said from the co-pilot's seat. Her claws gripped the armrests. Good. Jace tweaked thrust. Minimal burn kept momentum. Dense field favors us. They won't risk guns here, Kethra's voice crackled from the console. Drift path violates safety protocols. Collision probability, 47%. Log it. Jace's eyes flicked to the scanner. Cutter closed to 5 clicks. Drazek's escorts peeled off, too bulky for the maze. Perfect. He banked hard. A Corvette carcass whipped past, meters clear. Sparks trailed from their grazed shield. Salith exhaled sharp. Jace didn't blink. Rim haulers dodged worse daily. Alarms blared. Hull integrity dipped. Point defense offline. Incoming debris pinged unchecked. Shields weakening, Kethra reported. Recommend retreat. No retreat. Jace slapped the comms mute. Salith, cargo bay. Help me armor up. She unstrapped, followed him aft through flickering corridors. Air hummed with strain. Bulkheads groaned. Cargo hold yawned open. Crates of spare alloys. Mining scrap. Dead weight now. Jace yanked a plasma torch. We bolt this junk to the bow. Ablative layer. Eats impacts. Salith tilted her head. Iridescent scales catching the red emergency lights. Convert mass to shielding. Structural stress. Routine patch. Jace hefted a Durasteel plate, 2 meters square, bolted it across a seam. Torch hissed. Metal fused. Your ship's gutted. We improvise or die. She nodded, grabbed a slab. Her strength surprised him. lifted it solo. They worked fast. Plates overlapped like scales. Rivets punched home. Cargo racks emptied in minutes. Hull mass doubled forward. Kethra pinged. Mass redistribution uneven. Balance compromised. Compensate with gyros. Jace tested a seam. Solid. Salith grabbed the welder. Forward ventral. She moved like a shadow. Torch flared in her grip. Debris rattled the new armor. Clangs turned to thuds. Absorbed. Back on bridge, Jace strapped in. Scanner showed cutter matching drift, but cautious. Drazek's voice boomed over open channel. "Surrender the traitor, mechanic. Your junker ends here." Jace ignored it. Point defense panel sparked. He ripped the cover. Wires tangled. Standard alien lockout. AI dated. Kethra, authorize manual override. Negative. Human interface risks cascade failure. Override yourself. Jace hot-wired it. Bypassed safeties. Turrets whirred alive. He rigged a trigger yoke. Simple stick. Fire button. Thrusted at Salith. Your shot. Track and burn. Her eyes widened. Claws flexed on the grip. I am no gunner. Better than nothing. Jace yoked them deeper. Wreckage thickened. A freighter spine blocked half the path. Cutter loosed a salvo. Missiles snaked through gaps. Salith squeezed. Point defense spat lasers. Two blooms. Debris. One streaked closer. Lead it. Jace jinked. Hull shuddered. She adjusted. Fired. Missile vaporized. Hit, Kethra chimed. Deviation success. But coolant lines at critical. Perfect. Jace eyed the gauges. Superheated plasma built pressure. He plotted the vent. Hold fire. Watch this. Cutter bore down. Beams lancing. Armor glowed cherry red. Jace timed it. Thumbed the emergency purge. Forward vents roared. Superheated coolant jetted. A plasma fog. Mile-wide plume. Sensors whited out. Cutter's scan went blind. Drazek's curse echoed. What sorcery? Evasive. Jace punched thrust. Ship groaned under mass. They hurtled toward the kill box. A razor gap between battleship halves. 50 meters wide. Wreckage teeth jutted in. Too tight. Salith breathed. Point defense yoke trembled in her claws. Routine squeeze. Jace trimmed attitude. Gyros whined. Armor scraped sparks. Hull integrity held. Scrap plates shedding molten edges. Scanner cleared. Cutter emerged from fog. Full burn. Too eager. Drace chased hard. Jace grinned. Gap rushed up. He slammed through. Sides blurred. A girder snagged armor. Ripped free. They cleared. Behind, Cutter misjudged. Wing clipped a wreck. Metal screamed. Vessel spun wild. Engines flaring erratic. Escorts scattered to avoid. Salith whooped. Drop the yoke. You turned trash to triumph. Jace checked boards. Jump banks at 60%. Not done. Drazek recovers fast. He vectored for open void. Kethra. Status. Shields nominal. Human modifications. Stable. Pursuit vector updating. Salith touched his arm. Claws retracted. Trust. What next, mechanic? Jace plotted the slingshot. The gas giant loomed distant. We bleed them dry. Drazek's cutter stabilized. Howl chased them. You delay the inevitable! Jace torqued the yoke. Routine. But the hunter closed again. Drazek's cutter surged closer. Engines flared blue fire across the scopes. Jace twisted the yoke. Kethra, spool jump banks. Max charge. Acknowledged. 68%. Human patches holding. Salith gripped her station. Claws dug into padding. He'll board us in 10 minutes. Jace nodded. No panic. He slapped the console. Ship logs flickered open on his overlay. First, proof. Sabotage didn't happen by accident. Fingers flew across keys. Maintenance codes scrolled. Buried deep, layer 47, auxiliary purge routines, a ghost signature. Varen Royalist encryption. Jace isolated it. Highlighted the timestamp, matched her exile date. Look. He patched the feed to her screen. Injector valves slagged on purpose, coded to fail post-jump. Your own faction. Salith's frills flared violet. Shock rippled her scales. Traitors. Deep cover. She leaned in. Eyes narrowed on the SIG. That's Marshal Command Auth. Durazek's overlay. Jace grunted. Bait him. Get him to confirm. She keyed her panel. Royal Cipher Challenge burst out. High priority squawk. Exile override protocol. Marshal Durazek. Respond with chain of command token, by order of House Varen. Static crackled, then his voice, laced with fury. Princess, surrender. The High Council revoked your claim. Token denied. Wrong answer. Salith's tail lashed. Token or tribunal? Durazek laughed. Tribunal? Your meat. Bounty sealed. Jace smirked. Perfect slip. He yanked a data recorder from his kit, rugged black box, human surplus. Ripped open the comm array panel. Sparks danced. Wires snaked out. Alien gold filaments. No time for finesse. Recorder in. Jury-rigged splices, human twist ties secured the mess, fed power from Aug's battery. Captures bursts clean, his next transmission. Nailed. Kethra chimed. Warning, unauthorized modification to core comms, reversion in 30 seconds. Jace cursed under breath. AI lockdown. Rigid protocols. Kethra, stand down. This patch saves us. Negative. Human solutions exceed safety parameters. Improvisation risks cascade failure. Salith shot him a look. Trust flickered in her eyes. Fix it, mechanic. Or we die recorded. Jace patched into the AI core, voice command overlay, his mod from earlier. Kethra Unit 9, negotiate. Propose bounded human patch. Limits, single use, revert, on jump. Oversight by you. Silence hummed. Scopes beeped. Durazek close to weapons range. Parameters accepted. Install protocol. Human Initiative Alpha. Contained to comm array. Monitoring active. Green light. Jace slammed the panel shut. Recorder word live. Salith triggered another cipher ping. Durazek. Transmit full auth chain or face exile judgment. His cutter loomed on visuals. Point defense lasers kissed their shields. Fool. High Council Order 47. Alpha, recover asset. Erase witnesses. Burst transmission. Full chain dumped. Royal seals. Signatures. Proof. Recorder snagged it intact. Time stamped. Encrypted burst pristine. Jace yanked the box free. Got him. Evidence bundle. Silith's frills settled. Relief washed her posture. She slumped back. You turned scraps to salvation. Again. Not done. Jace slotted the recorder into nav core. Backup sealed. Jump banks hit 80%. Durazek fired. Plasma bolts streaked past. Kethra slingshot vector. Gas giant gravity well. Plotted. Evasion window. 90 seconds. Salith turned to him. Claws flexed open. No promises in her voice. Tribunal at Nexus Station. Neutral ground. They judge royals fair. Jace met her gaze. Pragmatic. No heroics. Agreed. Shared objective. Deliver evidence. No detours. She extended a claw, not a shake. Data link. Her personal access codes flowed in. Royal vaults. Ship manifests. Leverage. Jace mirrored it. Fed his bundle. Sabotage logs. Confession burst. Access to his independent yard codes. Hard evidence traded. No words wasted. Codes synced. Kethra confirmed. Course locked. Nexus Tribunal Station. Jump in 4 minutes. Durazek's voice roared over open channel. You think proof matters? I'll slag you first. Jace torqued hard. Gas giants swelled on screens. Rings glittered like shattered ice. They dove in. Escorts peeled off. Too bulky. Cutter followed. Bold, Jace skimmed the outer haze. Ion storms crackled. Shields shimmered. Salith manned point defense. Bolts lanced out. Scored Durazek's wing. Bleed him! Jace fine-tuned thrust. Human gut feel. Trimmed for the curve. They whipped around the planet. G-forces pinned them. Durazek overshot. Engines stuttered in the soup. Pull up. Too late. His cutter grazed atmosphere. Hull glowed cherry red. Structural alerts blared on their scopes. Jace pulled clean. Open void ahead. Jump banks primed. 95%, Kethra intoned. Human patch, stable, reverting. Salith laughed, sharp, triumphant, routine for you. Jace shrugged, just work. He punched it. Space folded. Stars streaked. Drazek's howl cut off. Nexus Station grew in the forward glass. Spires gleamed neutral silver. Tribunal docks open. Salith unstrapped. Touched his shoulder. Claws light. We dock. Present evidence. Then, Jace checked boards. All green. Fix your ship proper. My yard. No bounties. She nodded. Partnership sealed in code. Docking clamps thudded home. Airlock cycled, but scopes pinged. Incoming vessel. Royalist markings, not Drazek. Kethra, alerted. High Council escort. Demanding immediate board. Jace grabbed his kit. Time to improvise again. Jace twisted the final clamp on the reactor bypass. Sparks died. Kethra's voice hummed steady. Core temperature nominal. Human patch holding. Tribunal inspectors stormed the engineering bay. 3 of them armored in station gray. The lead one, a scaled Vexari with tribunal stripes on his crest, leveled a scanner. Ship Varen's pride, declared derelict. You docked without clearance. Jace wiped grease from his hands. Stood slow, clearance pending asylum claim. Reactors live patched. She's stable. The inspector swept his scanner over the jury-rigged conduits. Red lights blinked. This violates Protocol 9-7. Unsafe improvisation. Power down now. No. Jace blocked the panel. Power down, she cold welds. Strands us here. Boots echoed from the corridor. Salith entered, flanked by 2 more inspectors. Her iridescent scales gleamed under the bay's harsh lights. Claws sheathed. Posture regal despite the grime. Inspectors. I claim sanctuary under Nexus Charter. Evidence aboard. The lead inspector snarled. Princess, or traitor, your ship's impounded. Royalists inbound with override codes. Alarms pinged. Kethra spoke. Vessel docking. Marshal Drazek's cutter. Authority claim filed. Jace grabbed his multi-tool. Keep them off the reactor. I'll reinforce the patch. Salith nodded sharp, turned to the inspectors. Escort me to tribunal chamber. Play the recording. The airlock hissed again. Heavy thuds. Marshal Drazek pushed through. Royalist black armor scarred from atmospheric shear. 4 enforcers at his back, weapons hot. His mandibles clicked fury. Salith Varen, surrender for transport. High Council warrant. Inspectors tensed. Led one raised a hand. Tribunal jurisdiction, Marshal. Stand down. Drazek ignored him, advanced on Salith. Exile's end. Your faction demands erasure. Jace sidestepped to the reactor console. Fingers flew over controls. He shunted power from non-essentials. Lights dimmed. Patch held. Salith held up a data chit. Play this first. Captured transmission from your own ship, Marshal. During pursuit, the lead inspector snatched the chit. Slotted it into his wrist unit. Allah projected mid-air. Drazek's voice crackled. Sabotage confirmed. Reactor failsafe triggered. She dies in the void. No witnesses. Gasps rippled. Drazek froze. Fabricated. Time-stamped. Quantum-locked. Salith's eyes locked on him. Public ruling now. Tribunal chamber. Inspectors herded them out. Drazek snarled but complied. Enforcers' weapons lowered under station guns. Jace trailed. Kit slung over shoulder. Kethra whispered in his earpiece. Monitoring. Patch at 87%. Royalist hack attempt deflected. Tribunal chamber loomed at dock's core. Tiered seats filled with neutral arbitrators. Vexari. Insectoid Krell. Feathered avians. Central dais hummed with truth scanners. Salith strode to the podium. Jace hung back by the engineering feed. Arbiter Prime, a hulking Krell with multifaceted eyes, boomed. Claim asylum. Present proof. Salith activated the holo again. Drazek's confession looped. Murmurs swelled. Drazek pounded the rail. Lies. She's the usurper. Ship was decommissioned legally. Arbiter Prime's eyes whirred. Proof of sabotage? Jace stepped forward. Reactor bay. I'll show you. All eyes turned. Drazek hissed. Human scum. No clearance. He's custodian. Salith waved him up. Proceed, Jace roared. Jace climbed to the dais, linked his tool to the chamber's main feed. Schematics bloomed. Varen's Pride reactor, layered in alien script. He traced red lines. Failsafe here. Standard for your line. But, look, he zoomed. Microfractures glowed. Drilled post-manufacture. Alloy matched to Royal Armory. Drajek lunged. Enforcers grabbed him. Impossible. Diagnostics cleared it. Jace pulled up logs. Diagnostics hacked. I bypassed with a phase inverter. Human trick. Your scanners miss it. He tapped a coil schematic. Wrapped the core in a feedback loop. Pulled heat manual. She's purring now. Arbitrators leaned in. Arbiter Prime's claws clicked. Demonstrate. Jace grinned faint. On sight. He led the procession back to the ship. Drazeg dragged protesting. Engineering bay sealed behind them. Inspectors cordoned the space. Jace popped the reactor cowling. Glow-bathed faces. Conduits snaked. His weld zip ties from his kit. Alien crystals jury-rigged with copper shims. See? Jace pointed. Sabotage pins here. Melted through on purpose. I bridged with salvaged hull plate. Conductive dope from my stores. No fancy quantum weave, just solid transfer. Kethra projected overlays. Human solution. 94% efficiency. Native repair. Impossible without dry dock. An avian arbitrator fluttered wings. Your protocols forbade this. How? Jace shrugged. Treat it like a blown gasket. Find the leak. Plug it. Done. Drazek spat. Unsafe. It'll cascade. Jace torqued a fitting. Readout spiked green. Watch. He ramped power. Core thrummed smooth. No alarms. Silence. Then Salith's voice cut through. Intent. Proven. Murder disguised as failure. I claim asylum. Arbiter Prime nodded. Ruling. Granted. Protected status. Bounty voided. Drazek roared. Enforcers hauled him out. Royalist curses echoed. Jace resealed the cowling. Salith approached. Claws brushed his arm. You brought receipts. And a heartbeat. Work. Jace packed his kit. Ship needs full refit. My yard's open. Kethra chimed shipwide. Identity matrix updated. New transponder. Unregistered freighter. Joint ventures. Human Etherian registry. Salith's scales flushed brighter. Partnership etched deeper. Jace walked her to the chamber exit. Tribunal seals glowed on her chit. Protected. Free. Station klaxons whooped distant. Fresh scopes pinged. More royalists inbound. Kethra updated. Jump viable in 5. Human patch. Ready. Jace checked his multi-tool. Time to fly proper.